Hi, Judge. How are you?
All right. So, what do you want to say about health care? Go ahead, hit it.
No, there's not much to say. I think the vote speaks for, well, the vote/non-vote speaks for itself, Your Honor.
Say it. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Hit it.
I mean, it was an utter failure. If you want to have the Freedom Caucus run the party, which is what we saw take place this week, and they believe that toasters fly, so, you know, hey, this is what happens.
Yeah. But do you think, I mean, where do we go from here? Does that impact, you know, the next, whether it's infrastructure or tax cuts?
It absolutely does, because here's the problem that Donald Trump now faces, right? So he has a divided caucus in the House. And the reason why they put health care first is because they wanted to find a way to decrease the budget. Now with health care not being on the table, the taxes and the infrastructure bill are going to cost big bucks. I have no problem with deficit spending. The Freedom Caucus does.
Sure. Matt?
Yeah, he makes a good point on the numbers. But the problem in all this health care and all this legislative language we talk about, what was really telegraphed, I think, to the American people, somehow the Republicans didn't have their act together. So my advice to my own party...
to me, the operative word in that sentence is somehow.
Yes.
Somehow the Republicans didn't have their act together.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't want to do my open from last night again, but it makes me crazy. Why, Matt?
Because they fail to realize that the heart and soul of the Republican Party are conservative activists across this country. And when their representatives, despite what Richard says about the Freedom Caucus, I like the Freedom Caucus, when people feel cut out of the legislative process, guess what, Judge? They don't feel like they have skin in the game to be there the whole time. We're going to succeed on taxes if we work as a team. If we don't work as a team, guess what? We're going to do a lot more losing.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of a wedding where everybody in the family hates each other.
That's right.
And then they make the bride and groom miserable.
That's right.
You know, they defeat the whole point of the wedding.
That's right.
It's like we shouldn't have invited you anyway.
Let's have a good wedding, okay?
Well, I think, Matt, you speak to a part of the problem, right? So you look at those like the Barbara Comstocks, right? These people who are in moderate districts.
Right.
For them, they have 30 to 40% of their district on Medicaid expansion. So taking away Medicaid expansion, what the Freedom Caucus wants to do, hurts people in their district. So either you say, I'm going to vote with my party, or I'm going to vote for my constituents. And that is a hard line.
We can do this. We've done this on lots of big questions. Donald Trump, it's a time for leadership for him. The party is concerned. We're at each other's throats. It's a time for the president to step forward.
The president gave him a chance.
He did.
And that's what I said tonight.
He did
gave him a chance. So what does he do now?
You go back to those people who stood by you. There was a lot of people in the Freedom Caucus and a lot of other conservatives who had the president's back. Bring them in immediately, thank them, and start building the coalition for taxes. Don't start with punishment. Start with appreciation and thanks. It goes a long way.
I disagree. So if the president wants to get something done, right, he needs a big win in this first 100 days. Here's what he does. He puts infrastructure on the floor. He talks to vulnerable Democrats. So he gets 20 Democrats to make up for the fact that Freedom Caucus will vote against it. He gets infrastructure done. That's a win for him in this first 100 days.
And he can with Democrats on the infrastructure. He can do that.
He's got a chance there. The other biggest win will be if Neil Gorsuch gets confirmed.
Let's talk Gorsuch. What's with this filibuster I'm hearing?
I'm one of those people that believe that I don't think a filibuster is going to. I think Neil Gorsuch will go to the Supreme Court. That's point blank.
Well, he will. There's no question. But what is the trail? Is it bumpy or is it smooth?
Oh, it's going to be very bumpy, and here's why. I think this healthcare vote this week showed that Republicans are weak in the Senate and in the House. So Democrats and Chuck Schumer saying, well, hell, we know they're weak. We're going to go for the filibuster. So we'll delay this. We'll slow it down.
Did you watch the hearings?
He was great in the hearings. I thought he was great in the hearings.
I was mesmerized by the man.
But Judge, this is not Gorsuch's fault. This is House and Senate Republicans' fault as to why they're going to filibuster.
Stop. This is a Democratic fault.
No, it's not. If you guys are strong enough to pass the health care bill,
let me just say,
you wouldn't have filibustered.
Now, look, we had a screw up in health care. I'll give you all that. We're going to dust it off. We're going to get our act together. Neil Gorsuch is going to get confirmed. And the fact is this: Democrats are making a big mistake when they look too political when it comes to these Supreme Court openings. He's clearly the man for the job, and they ought to simply be fair.
Both parties play politics at the Supreme Court. If we don't remember,
we don't do a very good job of it. If we do,
I mean,
when's the last person we knocked back? Name the name. When's the last Democrat we knocked back?
Oh, the one before Merrick Garland.
Oh yeah.
You guys wouldn't even give him a hearing.
Give me a real person.
He wouldn't even get a hearing. He was a nominee for almost 200 days and did not get a hearing.
This is why you guys are going to lose on this.
We can't discuss whether he's good or bad, so let's get past him. Let's talk
but
we did Kagan, Sotomayor. We were like, go right ahead.
All of them.
Right,
All of them.
Gorsuch, they did not give Merrick Garland a chance. We gave Gorsuch a chance. We didn't boycott the hearing. We asked sensible questions.
So
no gotchas. Now it's going to come down to, can Mitch McConnell keep his caucus together, or is he going to go for nuclear option and change Senate rules?
So we all agree Neil Gorsuch gets on the Supreme Court, and the question is this: we have a lot of 4-4 decisions on the docket, and we also have a lot of administrative actions that these.
How soon does Gorsuch get on?
I think quickly. I'd say 30 days.
I would say 40 days.
Oh, that's
You just don't want to agree with him.
Whittling.
That's all it is. You don't want to
Back
agree.
to the
Now, let
problem.
me tell you what I think is going to be one of the successes of the president in maybe not 100 days, but very close. He's going to finish ISIS. He's going to do exactly what he said. With Mattis and the rest of that gang, I mean, he's squashing them. We're well past 10,000 on the ground in Iraq and Syria. We're going to finish that crowd.
Here's the problem, right? When we go after ISIS, this is the same problem we saw in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Right.
When we go after ISIS, we put our men and women, brave, very brave, on the ground. And the moment that our men and women start taking...
The vacuum one?
Yeah, the moment our men and women start taking losses and they start coming back to Dover Air Force Base,
is forever.
this becomes problematic.
This fight is forever.
Max Lapp, Richard Fowler, they're telling me I have to go, but it's great having you both on.
Thanks,
and Street. The House Intelligence Committee chair says he's seen intelligence that could back up President Trump's claims that he and his team were spied on by the previous administration. Joining me now to talk about it is former CIA official Gary Bernsen, also former chief of station and author of the best-selling book Jawbreaker, which is about the invasion of Afghanistan, of which he was the architect of the Tora Bora campaign. Now, Gary, let me ask you this. Let's assume that there's a FISA warrant and there is, or an investigation of a criminal, and then there's incidental collection of other information. So let's assume that there are individuals whose names are then unmasked. As a DA, I would minimize information that shouldn't be in a courtroom. That means take out stuff that shouldn't have been identified. The government is supposed to do that, too. Now we find out that the government unmasked names and then spread it out among a whole bunch of intelligence agencies. And let me say this quickly, that Barack Obama on December 29th decided to expand to an additional 16 agencies. Am I saying this right?
You're saying it exactly right.
Hit me then. What's going on?
When there's a FISA warrant, and they're doing intelligence or they're doing collection of a foreign agent or a foreign national of interest, like the Russian ambassador in Washington, D.C., or some other official, when they do that, and if he's on the phone with an American, they're supposed to say conversation took place, but they would not put the American's name in there. It's supposed to be minimized or redacted from there. They clearly knew what they were doing. Look, you can state, hey, we by accident got the Donald Trump's name on, or we got by accident certain members of the campaign on the discussion. But if they were putting their name in the report and disseminating this throughout the intelligence community, they knew what they were doing. That's not incidental. That would have been premeditated, the inclusion of those names. And that is a serious problem.
That's a felony.
I believe it would be an illegal act. I'm not sure if it's a felony or not, but it's clearly an illegal act.
Okay, so now we've got Devin Nunes, who goes and he tells the president, because what we've got are all these conspirators or conspiracy theorists who are saying, you know, the president is in probable cahoots with Russia and all this craziness, I think. And then what we do know for a fact is that they've got all of these Americans' names that they are illegally unmasking and spreading across the intelligence agencies and then leaking to the press. That's what we do know.
What we're seeing right now, though, is the most senior intelligence officials in the Obama administration, Clapper and Mike Morrell, have both stated we saw no fire. We saw no evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. Unfortunately, the media, not this station, but many other stations, are pushing out nonstop stories of potential collusion, the need to impeach the president, statements that he's a fascist, just insane things out there. And if I were the president, I'd be quite upset seeing all of this, because this is willful on the part of media outlets across the United States. It's horrifying.
And when Clapper spoke, he spoke on behalf of the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI, and he was clear, as well as Morell, that there was no collusion. And yet you've got this guy, Adam Schiff from California, and every left-leaning outlet saying, oh, there's something there, when the people who know are saying that there's nothing there. Scary stuff, Gary?
As of yesterday, I saw Mike Morell, the former, acting director and deputy director of CIA, on Charlie Rose, and he said, no fire there. There was